Well, jeepers! You're listening to Smash or Pass with JayBee, Milly, and Smash!
So, for today's episode, we are going to be taking a look at Scooby Doo Frankencreepy. So, I feel like this is a little bit of a standard intro, and that this is one that I hadn't seen before.
Yeah.
JayBee, presuming it's the same for you?
Same for me. I've heard some stuff about it, but yeah, this was my very first watching.
So then, of course, as always, we're coming to Smash as the expert when it comes to this movie.
I got this.
Hey.
Okay.
And I think this is a good one for Smash to be the expert on, because we're delving into a bit of history of this to the point where it caught me completely with my pants down. I don't know if that's like a inappropriate analogy, but that's a saying. I was literally caught with my pants down. I wasn't expecting what we got with this, so more than any other episode, I think, I'm hyped.
I mean, I feel like, I don't know if it's just the disc that we have, but you were thrown into this movie, so it didn't have a title page. You know how normally when you put a DVD on, you get the title page of main menus, scene selection, that kind of thing. We didn't have any of that. We were just like thrown into it. So initially it was almost like, is this just another advert? Is something happening here? So then we had to like kind of rewind it and almost restart, because we did just get thrown into it.
Yeah, and it did read like an advert as well. So the first thing we see is that web series. So we're instantly thinking, okay, either they've been really good with the marketing and they've just used one of the characters to promote a future movie or the current series, or we're literally just in media res, as it were. But do we need a plot? I suppose we need a plot.
I feel we do, yeah. So for those of you that haven't seen Frankencreepy before, like JayBee and I, or if you haven't seen it for a while, Velma receives a call that she is getting some inheritance from a old family home in Transylvania. So the gang travel out there to take a look at the property, and they've been made aware that there's a curse attached to it, which of course they want to disprove. And in doing that, I think fair to say that kind of Velma gets hypnotized. There's some changes to like all the gang things that they need to kind of overcome with personal hurdles and things like that, and to ultimately result in getting to the bottom of things as always.
Yeah, I'd say that's quite apt. Of course, we'll go into a bit more detail later on. But the first thing we see, like I said before,
Scooby Doo, it's called, isn't it? It's like almost like a Google page.
And I almost felt old looking at this, because maybe it's just the way that my laptop's set up, but I feel like I haven't just seen the standard Google sign for so long, to the point where until watching this I completely forgot that there was a I'm feeling lucky tab. I don't even know if that's still a thing, but no idea what that tab does still to this day.
So I guess, Smash, in terms of your experience first watching this, would you have seen this on DVD, and do you remember that kind of experience, or did we just get some strange disc?
No, so I remember getting this movie, and mine, like, has a menu and everything. Like, I don't know, it didn't jump into the movie at all, so that's interesting to hear that yours just kind of hopped right into it.
I mean, maybe we're wrong, because in hindsight, I do feel like we did have a menu that must have given us the option to select the bonus episodes, but definitely, I don't think we ever got a moment that flashed up the words Frankencreepy. I think that's what we were missing.
Yeah, it was just so strange. Like we say, it just like went straight into it. And so, I know as well, I feel like the reason that it was distinctly different is it almost seemed like a level up. Like whenever Scooby Doo incorporates modern day technology, I always kind of feel a little bit off balance with it. Just seeing them with mobile phones and stuff I find weird somehow, just because I feel like I'm very used to the originals a bit more, I want to say. So for them to be starting like, okay, welcome back to another episode of Jeepers, it's Daphne, was a bit like, this is very different. And
well, it is jarring with technology, because I think the way that the original show was set up, at least in hindsight, and I guess at the time as well, part of the charm is the lack of technology, in that you'd imagine it would be so much easier for the gang to just whip out the phone and press the torch feature, as opposed to a situation that could build tension, like we haven't brought torches with us and nothing's alight, so now we have to go into a creepy basement in the dark, or you know, we're separated. How, you know what I mean? Like, what's to stop the gang from splitting up to look for clues whilst on FaceTime or whilst on, like, a Zoom call or something? Pretty much nothing. But the fact that they tend to set it in a time without that technology is what makes it not only believable, but also a bit more tense. Whereas this is definitely more modern day, and I kind of do like it, but I do appreciate when they use it somewhat sparingly. But it's odd. But Jeepers, it's Daphne. Now, this reminded me of something. Like, I have been watching Disney Plus Day lately and all the reveals for stuff like Marvel, and it's like, it's Warner Brothers Scooby Doo, isn't it? Has Disney not bought Warner Brothers yet?
No.
I want them to, because could you imagine all the series that we could get on Disney Plus with Scooby Doo? They could make Jeepers, it's Daphne, or Jeepers with Daphne, and I would watch every episode of that. I'd be the biggest fan. That would be a
fun, like, web show thing to watch, you know?
Like, definitely it's a criticism with the Marvel stuff that they're just making too much. But I feel like with the Scooby stuff, they almost don't make enough. I mean, I know that they do the movies and stuff, but there's just a lot of potential for things that aren't necessarily series-worthy in terms of...
characters existing within their own right. So, for example, like you're saying, if you use Marvel as the comparison, given, like, every character from Scarlet Witch to Loki their own kind of series, so have a Daphne series and then a Velma series and stuff.
I mean, just for jokes, just like a little mini series. And let's be honest, I feel like if these movies were made in like Zombie Island era and stuff, there would be something like that as a bonus feature. But I think they've got a bit lazy with bonus features nowadays. They're just bonus episodes of the old shows, which are still good, but it's like, maybe the kind of Disney Plus route is a way for them to capitalize on what would normally be a bonus feature, but they can make a bit more money out of it. I wouldn't mind that. So yes, Jeepers with Daphne. I want to watch it.
I bet you do. I mean, it literally starts off with her being like, okay, so in this episode we're going to talk about my modelling portfolio.
I mean, I'd definitely like to see that portfolio. Would you like to see it, Milly?
No, I'm okay.
I think I'd like it. You know what I mean? Because it's just good to support people.
Is it really?
But this is where the history is brought into the fold. So we got references to, is it Mamba Wamba?
Yes.
Now, I don't know too much about Mamba Wamba. Maybe I've forgotten them, but that is a genuine episode of the original show, is it, Smash?
Yeah.
Okay, so then there's stuff that I do recognise. So, of course, there's the Phantom Shadows. There's, I think they mentioned the Ghost of Redbeard. So there's a lot of nostalgic things there.
Yeah, there's a lot of flashbacks. And then it kind of flips to almost like a guest joining the kind of show. That's like, we have an urgent message for Velma, and Velma just keeps trying to like block the call. So instantly you're like, ooh, we're going to be suspicious of Velma in this one. It's going to be Velma again.
True.
But it is odd because I feel like in a weird way, like when that lawyer does join the call, it represents the fan base in a really toxic way in that. And again, I don't go searching for this stuff. It comes up on my timeline.
It just appears. Oh god!
But so many Daphne appreciation pictures.
Oh no!
And I've mentioned this on a podcast because it does annoy me. You cannot go into the comment section without seeing the words Velma better at least 5 times. And just for like the lawyer to show up to Daphne's show and say, "Hey, I'm looking for Velma," it's just like, oh. Yeah.
What JB's really getting at here is like when he tries to search for Daphne TikToks, Velma always seems to be involved.
Well, it's true. And look, here's the thing, because this is what I do. I like to show these TikTokers what the people want. So every time I see a TikToker that cosplays something like Daphne or Velma, or if I see a Velma one, I'll go into the TikToker's profile, scroll for the Daphne ones, and like it. Because it's supply and demand at the end of the day, and I'm fighting very hard for Daphne, not supremacy, I think Daphne equality at this point. So that's what I do.
How noble of you, JB.
Yeah, it's good. It's a dirty work. It's dirty work, but
And I
someone's got to
think
do
this
it.
moves us on very nicely
There's
to
a
the
Daphne
introduction of Daphne, the super fan who appears in the stream requesting the modelling portfolio with all the posters on the wall. And I am not joking when I say this. We were watching this next to JB's 2-meter high Daphne poster. So I was just sat there looking at the screen, seeing Daphne with his like posters on the wall, then turning my head a little bit and seeing JB with the poster on the wall right next to him, and I was a bit like, okay.
Well, look, Daphne.
I see this.
Daphne is a man of culture, you know. He's a man of substance.
So one thing that I learned is that JB is Daphne.
But he literally does come in with a wall full of Daphne, and it's like, this guy's got it right, you know. I think if there's one spirit animal I've got, it will be Daphne.
Okay, so we found who you most relate to in Scooby Doo.
Can I say something a bit controversial now?
You tend to do that quite
Feel free
frequently.
to edit it out. So, I'm wondering something, and I don't know. I was comfortable saying something like this in the Scooby Natural episode because I feel like I did the disclaimer there. But one thing I noticed watching this is that Daphne looked very, very curvy. But I'm thinking this, would they have made Daphne more curvy at the start to contrast it with her like inflatable suit in the middle of it?
I think there's certainly a draw to her looks in this because that's what matters the most to her in theory.
But do you reckon it does?
No.
Because I would say with her, it's probably, well, maybe I'm just going into Mystery Incorporated, but I would say it would be Fred, wouldn't it?
Quite possibly.
I would say so. So that's what I've got to say. I don't know if that's like a controversial thing, but I just kind of noticed it. And of course I would notice it out of anyone, but then knowing where the story takes a turn later on, I'm kind of like, okay, maybe they did just make her so much one way to then exaggerate what she'd then turn into.
Yeah, I mean,
throughout.
I think it's fair to say that you're like obsessive with when Daphne's on the screen normally, but with this one you were like, that's weird, is she not wearing tights there? Is she different here? She looks different there. And it was like, okay, this is taking some time.
But one thing that did take
Been on
me...
for like 20 minutes now.
It took me a bit to notice this, but it does seem like they changed up the animation style quite a lot, because from, I think it was Abracadabra Doo, maybe even to the last episode that we properly covered in this, Daphne had very much a tan presence, so that she looked almost brown, whereas here she's back to being fully pale. So I don't know if this is a new art style that we'll take going forward, but that's definitely something.
Yes, so this movie, I sometimes swap between like calling it the Frankencreepy or the Moon Monster Madness animation, but for whatever reason, we're in this little period now where it's mainly the colors. They went more pastel colors rather than vibrant. And if you look at this movie or Moon Monster Madness and go to The Sword and the Scoob, they did that again for The Sword and the Scoob. And so this like Frankencreepy and The Sword and the Scoob look similar. And I don't know why. I don't know if it's like different studios are animating or they are just swapping it up for fun. I don't know, but we are in this short little period of pastel colors for the movies.
I mean, it kind of works with the vibe. I didn't find anything that looked particularly horrible. Here's one thing that I kind of want everyone's opinion of. They made a very deliberate editing choice all throughout this film where they would do a load of quick little jump cuts and then progress with the scene.
Yeah, like when they're like, oh yeah, kind of like the 80s, and then there's a little jump cut of 5 different things that Daphne wouldn't have had in the 80s or something, like hair curlers and
or even
no
just like
electric
simple
and
things
stuff.
like when they mention getting on the train, they then meant like it flashes with a suitcase, a ticket, a train track, and then they're actually on the train.
It's quite jarring.
So I guess I'll start with Millie. What's your opinion on that?
I do think it's quite jarring. I kind of feel like it's maybe not necessary. Maybe takes away from it more than it contributes, especially when like I was saying as the example with like just random cutscenes of things that Daphne wouldn't have had if there was no electric and stuff like that.
Okay.
Like, we understand it's traumatic for her to not have like hair curlers or whatever, but
what did fair maidens used to do way back when, before straighteners and stuff? Because they were like Jane Austen, right? There must have been fair maidens upon a prairie.
You can get like hair curlers without electricity and heat.
Or the Amish, or the Amish. I don't know. I think I could. Well, actually, I say that. I don't think I could live there. I think I'd become a slave. But I guess, Smash, what did you think of the kind of jumpy editing style of this movie?
So I remember the first time I watched it, I actually watched it with a friend. And first watch was, we were laughing so much. We were like, what the crap is this? Like, what is happening? And we were just laughing at it. But then going back and watching it, I'm like, this isn't the movie to have these, I feel like. I was like, there are like specific movies I feel like this could have worked, like maybe even the WrestleMania one, you know, but I'm like, I just feel like this movie could have been like a dark and creepy feel, and I feel like it starts to get there at points, and then they all of a sudden have these random cuts like this, and it throws you off again, and you're like, well, okay, that feeling's gone. So first watch, it was funny, but going back and watching it more, I'm always just like, can we remove these? Can we have like a cut where these don't exist, please?
I wonder if they did it to relieve the tension to an extent, because I'm just thinking without it goes to quite dark places, to be honest, but I don't know, it reminds me a lot of Edgar Wright's editing style, so that's Shaun of the Dead, The World's End, Hot Fuzz, Baby Driver, Scott Pilgrim, very much like that, except I think the reason why that works is because per movie, they maybe do it once or twice, maybe 3 times. But with this, it felt like every time they changed settings, they had to do it. And so for the first time, I thought, okay, this is interesting. But then it just became so frequent that I was like, oh, can we maybe chill out with this a bit? It was a bit, I don't know. I just think they overused it, which was their main issue.
So I guess continuing on from where we were with the plot, the gang all meet up, and I don't know if it's just me that picked up on a kind of weird vibe here, that it was almost like they'd not seen each other for a little while. I don't know, I almost felt like it was kind of like a Zombie Island level reunion. Like, obviously Daphne had her independence with the Jinkies It's Daphne, Jeepers It's Daphne show and stuff. So it's like, almost like, was there a little divide there for a while?
I mean, it does seem like the characters are a bit different, because I think this is the first time, at least in the movies, that we see Fred really, really in love with the Mystery Machine. Like, I don't feel like that was the case before. Obviously, he'd always liked it. It was kind of his vehicle. And obviously in Mystery Incorporated and all that, he's obsessed with the Mystery Machine. But in this movie, at least, he's just in love with it. I think he's kissing it. He's like proposing to it.
And it's like, again, it's like there's been some time apart where he's been working on the Mystery Machine when no one had been around and stuff. I just feel like there was a bit of a time lapse before this one.
Maybe. I mean, I'm almost thinking this is so nostalgic and they consciously changed up the visual of this. Maybe I'm just becoming like completely out of touch, but was this made for like a particular anniversary or something, Smash, or was it a special movie in terms of milestones?
Let me actually, does anybody know when it came out?
I've got it written down as 2014 here.
So August 19th, 2014. So nothing, no, there really wasn't anything special with that.
That is weird, but I guess it makes a little bit of sense and they don't try and do too much of it, but it's definitely a nostalgic one, and it does feel like maybe they had a bit of time to part. But maybe they just did that to build mystery around Velma's relatives. Like, if they were just on the road from the start and they were just doing another mystery, maybe it would feel a bit weird for... You know, I don't even know. I guess, like, the lawyer could just follow them somewhere or stop them somewhere. Like, It does seem a bit strange.
Oh no, I guess it's just a thing that most people enjoy nostalgia, so to have a callback to old episodes and things is 95% of the time only going to be a good thing.
Yeah, I'd say so.
So the next part of the plot is they find out that Velma is the sole beneficiary of the castle in Transylvania.
Isn't it Transylvania, Pennsylvania?
Yeah. And then the second they say Transylvania, you get another one of those like repetitive cutscene things, and it's like shows two images, and then the third one is that classic bat intro that I want to say is part of this What's New Scooby Doo intro.
Yeah, it looks like the kind of bats flying to the... Well, I guess the bats and the Where Are You intro had like the bats kind of flying at you.
Yeah.
But yeah, Pennsylvania, it's weird because we had like a discussion while watching this where at first we didn't know where Pennsylvania was until I remembered that The Office US is set in Scranton, Pennsylvania, abbreviated to Scranton, PA. So if it wasn't for The Office, I would be thinking that Pennsylvania was somewhere in like Bulgaria. Again, I'm really bad at geography.
Well, it's because I feel like you don't associate Transylvania with somewhere near America, right?
Well, no, but Pennsylvania.
Because when they were getting on the train to get there, I was like, Transylvania in America? I feel like this is the first time I'm hearing this.
I mean, it's like Texas, Washington, Chicago, fine. But then there's Pennsylvania. It sounds Bulgarian. Like, Sylvania. I don't know.
Pennsylvania.
It just doesn't sound right. It confuses me, but I'm just a simple guy from the UK. All we've got is Wolverhampton and Manchester, so who knows? What about you, Millie?
So I feel like the next part of the plot we hear like this little beeping noise, which I think is quite distinctively almost like a bomb noise, at which point the mystery machine blows up. So obviously that's a little bit devastating for Fred. I feel like nothing goes through as much in Scooby-Doo as the Mystery Machine does.
Honestly, it should get a raise.
In theory, they must be on their third Mystery Machine, right? Because surely for the amount of times things have happened to it, they must have had to replace every part 3 times.
Yeah, I wonder how many mystery machines there are canonically.
Oh, that would be a fun thing to look up. And like in the end credits of Happy Halloween Scooby-Doo, we actually see them like build a new mystery machine.
I feel like just because they like keep like the chassis of the car the same or something, they're like, oh, that means that it's still the mystery machine because like we've used the same base.
What's a chassis?
And it's like you've literally replaced every part 10 times. I don't know, I just think it's the name of the like main car structure, the like inner...
Isn't that a cockpit? I thought a chassis was French for horse.
That's cheval. And I've pronounced that terribly.
Oh, well, every episode I expose myself as an idiot. Oh well.
It's okay. Like last week was it with an actual French person, so at least you've waited till this week to get it wrong.
My incompetence, but I don't know. I feel like if I inherited, or if I managed to earn, or if I just found £1 billion, I would buy a Ferrari and customize it like the Mystery Machine. I'm
telling you now, if your dad heard you say that, he would cry.
No, I would. Could you imagine how sick that would look? A legit Ferrari, but with those flowers on, those colours. Like, some eccentric billionaire has to do that. I would so do that. If we got, like, millions, that's what I would do. I just think that would be the coolest thing in the world. Would you support me in that, Millie?
I'd let you get a car that looked like the Mystery Machine. Just maybe not that car to look like a Mystery Machine.
So, like, legit a van?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll settle for that. That's alright.
Good. So then we continue with the nostalgia kind of thing, where the kind of villain that appears that's meant to be part of the curse of the Transylvanian castle looks like Iron Face.
Yeah, and I think I managed to pick up on that instantly, although I guess I can't really take the credit because it does literally show you Iron Face not 5 minutes earlier, so they're clearly trying to draw parallels to that. But at first I had wild theories and that, well, no, this is what annoys me, and I always get roasted for this. But I don't feel like there's ever a Daphne-centric plot. But
She's just had her own web show. What more do you want?
I was thinking that this was going to be a scenario where the villain was Daphne, who started watching Daphne's live streams, Daphne's show.
Yeah, and at this stage, it could still be Daphne.
And learned so much about the past mysteries. And he's like obsessed with Daphne, right? He's got posters on the wall, he's got
Can you relate?
pop vinyls, he's got all sorts. Okay, he's a Daphne fan. He's literally a Daphne fanatic. But I was thinking, he was like, okay, to win her over, she really likes solving mysteries, so I'm gonna like give her loads of nostalgia, I'm gonna shower her with mysteries, and I'm gonna do this. So therefore he models his villain off Iron Face. So I'm thinking that this is Daphne, but I feel stupid for thinking that, because they're never gonna give us the Daphne-centric film that we deserve. And that's my TED talk.
Okay, but I actually love that like plot. Like, can we get a movie like that now, please?
I will write that.
I very much liked the plot that JayBee was coming up with through this, because obviously they'd gone through that nostalgia on the web show where they'd been talking about the villain, so it was like, any one of their audience is going to know about this.
But what is the point? So what is the point of the Daphne show at the start, except not fan service, but just exposition setup? Like, they could have been doing that in the Mystery Machine, and a car could have stopped them. Or they could have done a real flashback and parked off at a malt shop, and that's where the lawyer comes in. But they chose to purposely give us a special Daphne thing, and it just seemed to be, in hindsight, without real purpose. But with that new storyline, I feel like this would just be a cooler movie. Maybe, I guess, a bit too dark in that getting obsessed with like famous people and internet people as something that's caused a lot of controversy in the real world, but like, I just think that would have been cool. And if Warner Brothers hear this and they want to hire me to write that, I will, and I'll do it for free as well. So there you go.
Wow.
What a bargain
It's
for
out
them,
in the
JayBee.
world now.
Yeah, and I've got a British accent, so I'm gonna sound smart regardless. So hey. Tally ho, Warner Brothers. Can I write you a hot script? They'll do it, won't they? I don't think they will.
I'm sure.
I think they hate me. But
Oh, sad.
So it's at this point we finally get the titles, which admittedly seems really far into the movie, I think.
do we? Oh, we do get the title.
Yeah, it's the ones that we said were almost like
Noir.
a Marvel Netflix show. Like, there's just lots of like red and grey and black. They're quite dark. You don't get any kind of music or song. It's just their voices, which I personally want to say I wasn't a fan of.
It was quite a forgettable tune that they have. It was like there's some like fun parts, but it was a bit underwhelming.
I feel like it was literally just lots of cuts of going like, Jinkies, Jeepers, Zoinks. It was literally just them saying different words, and it was like,
Do we know?
This isn't important.
Do we know if the audio that they use is taken from previous films or the extracts from what's to come up in this film?
I don't have a clue.
A handful of them are old ones.
So it is a bit of a forgettable title sequence in that I like the look, but I just think one thing that I really love about the intros with some of them is that the songs are just so iconic. Like the circus comes to town, the one from Stage Fright. There's just so many awesome intros that this one kind of falls a bit flat in terms of song. Is it your favourite though, Mel?
I mean, I didn't even notice there was any music accompanying it. I was just like, what are these words? Why are they here? And also, I just thought it went on for a long time as well.
Yeah, very long intro.
I mean, I will admit that I've just like gone completely negative with that. I mean, do you remember the titles, Smash, and what you thought of them?
Oh, sorry. Okay, are we back?
Sorry, I don't know if we were having like some audio thing again. Then I just asked you, do you remember seeing these titles for the first time? What you thought about them?
You know, I don't remember the first time too much. When this movie came out, this was actually the very beginning of the school year for me, which is the year that I went into heart failure in high school. And so watching this movie, I will say, I did not pay attention to anything originally. And when we get to the end, I did not even realize what the end was the first time watching this. I was just like, oh, cool movie. And then I went back and watched it later on, and I was like, what did I just miss? How did I miss all of this? Where was I? And so, for me, the title sequence, if you haven't already gotten it in the beginning, it's like such a dead giveaway. It's just like, okay, we kind of know this plot now is cough, cough, a revenge plot.
I'm wondering if some of the audio is taken from the actual episodes of the monsters that return. That would be interesting.
They are not, unfortunately.
Oh, I was just thinking, because if you watch
JayBee, why are you making this one so much better than it is? Just like, oh, it should have been one of Daphne's online fans. Oh my gosh, imagine if they'd taken the audio from the episodes they're referring back to.
Well, no, but it would have been cool, because unless you really, really know your Scooby Doo, you're not going to know it. But then
my brain's literally just gone into the art style of this movie. When we were talking about it doing those random clips where there's things scurrying around getting you your director's chair and one of those clipboard things and stuff. Just yes, JayBee's taking over the movie.
But they could have one of those creepy stalker moments in this and everything. They just stumble across a room just with printouts of Daphne. That would be it. Daphne.
So, continuing on with the plot, then we have the kind of sign on the floor saying, stay away from Transylvania. Firstly, I don't know how they got the mystery machine to leave that text on the floor. That was a bit strange. And then Fred goes into his dramatic speech, which is when we get a little bit of music, because there's the background music behind his tearful, heartfelt words.
Yeah. It's good though, because it gives Fred a reason, a narrative reason to go to that place or want to go to the place.
I feel speeches like that normally come later in the movie when it's they're trying to build up to doing the big reveal at the end, or the trap at the end, or the last hurdle. And I feel something that's a bit ironic at this stage, and it does get explained later, is that if that didn't happen, blowing up the mystery machine, then they wouldn't have even gone to Transylvania, so telling them to stay away is a bit ridiculous. But like we said, that gets touched on at the end.
Yeah, they've created their own villain, I want to say, almost. But I guess that's what they wanted. They wanted to lure them there for revenge, so perhaps it was on purpose, in hindsight. But it seems like the only one that didn't want to be there was Velma.
Yeah. So they're are about to get the train and they're gonna go. That train is a very peculiar experience. It's certainly interesting. I feel like it's enough to put you off trains for a little while.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really a big fan of trains at the best of times, but it just seems so rickety and, I don't know, a bit spooky, but I guess that's the point. It's meant to be a bit spooky.
It was a bit harrowing how quickly they could separate the carts as well. Just almost pulling a hairpin out and they're all separated.
Yeah, the Polar Express retro stuff.
Yeah.
But I feel like everyone gets their moment to shine in this. It does seem, even I complain about Daphne's representation, but Daphne gets the web show, Fred is motivation's the mystery machine, and Velma, this is the reason, presumably, that she says why she hates the supernatural and she wants to debunk it, is because she's trying to distance herself from that von Dinkelstein image.
Yeah, so she gets the flashback, which is that she's got the family secret. They are the von Dinkelsteins that created the monster, which is Frankenstein. And again, there was a series of quick cuts when they were doing that, but basically that there was the inspiration from Frankenstein there.
The one quick cut I do really like, and I don't even know if you can call it a quick cut, it just looks like another like Edgar Wrightism, is when like Shaggy feels queasy, someone like, and they go to like almost vomit, but then someone pours a drink at the same time. I feel like that was really well done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was too. And you're about to, well, you think that there's not enough Daphne appreciation in the world. There's about to be another Daphne moment where she's like, oh, I can do the cheerleader thing, and that saves them all.
Yeah, which is weird, because I don't know, I think there is a lot of weird stuff that happens, but I do like that moment.
And then we meet a character that I think is perfect for like Scooby Doo verse, which is Mr. Burger.
Mr. Burger. It's Burger, the Burgermeister.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
But the Burgermeister, I'm instantly a bit sus of Burgermeister because they mention explicitly at the start that the tourism in the town is dead. So I'm kind of thinking, well, that's classic Scooby-Doo motivation, right? Fake a monster or something to bring tourism to the town. But
I mean, true.
does that work in practice? Like, do you reckon Scotland's living it up with the Loch Ness Monster?
I'd say that a lot of people would go to Scotland for the Loch Ness Monster. I mean, you've wanted to do that, and also, been from where I'm from, Dracula's like a huge draw.
There's enough monsters where you're from. No, I'm just kidding. That's a joke.
Like, just because it was supposed to have like inspired Dracula, people capitalise off that so much. They do. There's a Dracula ghost walk.
I want to go to that.
There's like almost like a haunted house called the Dracula Experience. There's supposed to be a grave in one of the churchyards dedicated to Dracula and where they're meant to be buried and stuff. So I'd say it was true that they do try and capitalise on stuff like that.
So then, is there a local monster anywhere near where you're from?
No, none that's close to me. Pretty boring.
There's the Sasquatch, isn't there? Where does the Sasquatch live?
That's a good question. I actually know where he originates from.
I don't know. Well, if anyone lives in Scotland or lives in somewhere where there's like a notorious monster, let us know in the comment section if it actually does bring tourism. If you've got like gift shops that turn over like thousands and thousands a day or something like that, just on merch for that monster. Because I know that there's a Funko Pop floating around of the Loch Ness Monster that has really, really increased in value. So make of that what you will.
Like I said, I genuinely believe it works as a tourism thing. But we also get a flashback to what the monster looked like, and it was literally just parts of different animals.
Yeah, like, again,
like a
Frankenstein
fish tail
monster.
and stuff, yeah. But, like, I think the typical Frankenstein's monster at least represents a human.
Yeah, just a
Whereas this is like
human
more
with a big head, isn't it?
animalistic.
It's like Kevin 11.
Okay, and the next thing that I want to mention is they then go to the castle, and that housekeeper has the most alarming voice I've ever heard.
Yeah, like chain smoker voice.
Yeah, it's just not good. And can we just address why there'd be a certain death door in a house?
Where is the certain death? Oh yeah, the
When
one
they're
that
like showing them
dangles
to
right
their
down the
rooms,
sheer
and she's
drop.
like, "Oh, Velma, here's your room," and Velma's about to walk through the door of certain death.
Well, I guess
Which is just a straight drop.
you could off someone pretty easily with that. Like you could trick them so easy and just give them a shove.
Okay, so they eventually find the rooms. And get shown the laboratory as well, which I believe is when, again, a little Daphne moment here. She's the one that first says Frankencreep,
Oh yeah.
Oh.
I believe.
But I like that. Again, it gets a little bit on the gruesome side when Shaggy and Scooby try and eat parts of the monster. Like the discarded parts of the monster.
Oh, yeah.
Like that kind of made me feel ill. And I was just saying this the other day, it's mad some of the stuff that we can eat as humans, really, when you think about what exactly it is.
Well, I want to say, in Shaggy and Scooby's defence, that the food they wanted to eat was normal size. The size of the monster, everything was 10 times huge, like the regular size. Like the fishtail was huge, whereas from the fridge it was just like a normal fish.
Can we refer to body parts as normal size in the politically correct world?
It's not like not talking about human body parts. I'm talking about like animal parts. Like
were they not parts of
fishtail.
humans? Was it literally just they kidnapped monsters and chopped up the monsters to
like
make
there
a
was
bigger
a lobster
monster?
claw and stuff as part of it, I believe, wasn't there?
I think so, but wait,
As
so
far as I'm
is
aware,
this
none of
movie
it was human.
supernatural then? Because obviously, if the monster because the monster is fake, but then where did are they just loads of fake monster parts that are all fake of different monsters? So someone's made a fake lobster claw and a fake face thing.
Maybe.
I'm a bit confused, you know.
I mean, for all they're using like body parts of animals, like a lobster and a fish, they aren't the actual size. It's weird. It's different.
Do you reckon someone could do that with us?
But I guess a lot of this is about like mind control, so you don't even know that you've perceived it how it is. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because we kind of see it from the gang's perspective and how the gang think and feel. And at this point, Velma's about to get hypnotised. We know that there's some kind of mind control with Shaggy and Scooby. Daphne gets led to believe something that's not true, that kind of thing. So
Yeah, like
I guess if
twisted
we're
perception.
watching it from their perspective and perception's been twisted slightly, then it could be like that.
I gotta say, I think that this is one of the best Fred portrayals that we've got, in that I genuinely felt sorry for Fred in this. Like every time, and again, I do think, like with the cutscenes, they overdo it maybe once or twice. But in the times that he's genuinely like saying something and then he remembers that the mystery machine's destroyed, I'm like, oh, I wish I was there. Or like, I think I even cringily like looked at one of our mystery machine toys and I was like, oh, I'd let Fred borrow that if we knew him. Because I just felt so sorry for him. But then I just feel like the only times that I really connect with Fred is when he's like severely depressed. So in this and in Mystery Incorporated. And then I'm just like, does that say more about me than Fred? I don't know. Make of that what you will. But I do like it when, well, I don't like it when Fred's depressed, but I relate to him when he's depressed. What else?
So I think it's the Torch Festival next, where they all kind of go into the town, leaving Velma in the laboratory, and
Oh, the lavatory.
laboratory.
Oh, what is it? The lavatory.
Laboratory.
Dexter's laboratory.
And Daphne really likes the dress, and she's like, oh, you have to get it in a size 8, and then the size 8's huge. I mean, I feel like I've heard this discussed on the Nikki Blake podcast, and like it is one of the talking points of this movie that like firstly a size 8 shouldn't be perceived as huge and that kind of thing.
Well, I don't know. I kind of feel like this isn't really... I don't think this is a good point to debate personally, in that if Daphne is... What was she trying to get before?
She wanted a size 2, I think, which in the UK is a size 4, and our clothing stores don't even start that small. We start at size 6.
So if she is a size 2 and has been a size 2 forever, then a size 8 is incredibly large. Like,
I guess
and that's
for
just
them, I don't know.
So
it's
for
a perception
example,
thing.
and I've mentioned this, when I was 17, I used to look like a more attractive version of Taylor Lautner, you know what I mean? I had the six-pack, I had the arms, I had the trim face, right? And now I'm at a stage where I'm teetering upon morbid obesity, like scientifically. I do genuinely need help, I need to lose weight. But for example, there are people that I know that I meet on the street or whatever, like that I see, but like I know personally, that are twice my weight, 3 times my weight, or my weight but a bit shorter, my weight and less muscular. And so when I look at myself and I'm like, I'm really fat, I hate myself, that's not saying to someone bigger than me, oh, you're even fatter than I am, so you're even more disgusting. That's just, I'm used to being this way, and now I'm not this way, and I hate it. So I think that for all size 8 it shouldn't be considered big, because it really isn't. For Daphne, that's her truth, and that's what she's had to deal with because she's in a different realm. So again, I don't think she's calling all size 8s massive, but for her, size 8 is massive, and that's kind of what I see it as. Again, it's interesting to debate. Maybe if we were more into like that type of discussion panel type settings, we could debate the ethics of it until we're all grey. But for now, it's kind of like it's very big compared to what she normally is, according to her. So no, I don't blame her for being upset like that. Do you, Millie?
I guess not, like you say, it's like, if it's a huge step up, it's like, oh my gosh, wow. I think it's more like, if anything, not a flaw to Daphne's character, maybe more to the production, in that like an inflated fat suit's considered a size 8.
But it doesn't start off like that, does it? It gets progressively bigger, I want to say. Oh, okay, maybe I'm starting to agree with you. I suppose, from a writer's perspective, in terms of spreading positivity to the society, to the community, it would be better to specify that Daphne is unhappy because it's personally bigger than she normally is. Whereas I think that a kid, or maybe someone a bit younger, could read into that and say, so if Daphne is this upset that she's a size 8 and I'm a size 9 or 10, should I feel really bad? Am I not healthy? Maybe they could have done a better job in specifying that it isn't big, but it's just more than Daphne's unrealistic body proportions are anyway. So I don't know if they could have done a better job with that. Maybe.
Yeah, I just feel like it was maybe addressed poorly.
Yeah. In universe, I think it's not a big deal, but maybe to society, they probably should have done a better job. But I don't blame Daphne, like Daphne's character personally, because I just think I would be pretty upset if I'd gone up 5 sizes overnight. And I think a lot of people
I could
would.
agree with that.
What about Smash?
Yeah, this is one of those like weird things in the Scooby, kind of realm, because it's like, on one side it's like, yeah, I can, people are coming from, kind of like what you guys, that in the movie itself, it just wasn't addressed very well. I feel like even at the end, it still wasn't even addressed the best, but I just, it was just one of those, this movie suddenly got attacked for this portion, and it was weird because at least at that time I remember seeing that was like more or less saying, okay, we're going to like take Scooby down, like you will never see Scooby Doo again after this type of thing. And although I was never really scared of like, oh no, this movie ruined Scooby Doo and we're never gonna get new stuff after this now. But it was just like, I guess it just kind of shows people's reactions and like how far people can go with little things. And like, again, this is, at the end of the day, this is kind of more of a kid's film. And so they're kind of like, well, that's not the best thing to be portraying for girls or people in general. And but like, I don't know, I was like 16, I want to say, when this movie came out, and again, still probably not the target audience for them, but I never saw this part in the movie as that, I never was Daphne is sad that she became fat or whatever, it was just like, I, again, kind of like you guys were saying, where it was just like, she was just like completely shocked. She's like, what the crap just happened? Like, I just want an explanation. It's not the fact that I'm big, it's just, or that I'm a size 8. I just want to know how this happened so fast and so jarringly.
Yeah, I think that's...
I don't know.
It's a tricky one, because again, like, I guess we're in a position where we're talking about this and we all have like YouTube channels and stuff, so for all we're not necessarily in the public eye in that way. It's like, if I started off the channel at 17 and I was a size medium, and now I'm an extra large, but I always just wear 3 extra large because I just don't like anything clinging to my skin in that way. Like, I wouldn't want to be in a position seeing myself in an XL and saying, I'm in an XL, so I'm really, really, really fat, to then, like, put that out there and, like, make someone who is also XL, 2XL, 3XL feel worse about themselves, so...
Yeah, I feel like what we all, us three do, like, in terms of our channels and everything, and just in general what the world has to try to do now is, like, on a level of such inclusivity. Like, I feel like we're in an era where it's about everybody feeling really happy and just really comfortable with anything, that almost, like, to do anything that can be misrepresented or misinterpreted like this is always a bit of a risk.
I'd say as long as you're a healthy person, it's fine. Like, me personally, I'm not a healthy person, so that's why I do want to, like, change a lot about my appearance. But if you're, like, my size, twice my size, and you're a healthy enough person, like, you don't get puffed out walking up the stairs like me, then fair play. And if you're happy in and of yourself, I think that's the main thing. Because I know that I wake up, look in the mirror, and I'm miserable. But if you're, say, bigger than me, or no matter how big you are, if you look into the mirror and you can genuinely think, this looks like me, I'm who I'm meant to be and I'm happy, that's awesome. That's awesome.
I agree. That's great. So that's kind of Daphne's little story arc for the minute. Then we have the Shaggy and Scooby story arc, which is they do the eating competition, they get these new outfits, and then all of a sudden they're full. Now, initially I was like, okay, Mr. Burger seems quite suspicious. Could it be that they're just suspicious of the food that he's given them and so that they don't want to eat it? Because they never get full. So initially I thought they were just a bit suspicious of the food itself.
I don't know. I'm definitely believing that they're full, but I can't remember what I thought at the time. I just thought because they'd eaten so much, they would be full for maybe 5 minutes, and that Mr. Burger, the Burgermeister, just caught them at a bad time. I wasn't really thinking about it too much.
But I feel like the Shaggy and Scooby that we know would have been like, we'll eat it. Like, even if we feel really full, we don't want to deal with this mob or whatever, it's fine, we can eat it. So I thought they were genuinely suspicious, like they thought it had been poisoned or something. But then obviously we do go on to find out that it was that they weren't hungry, but I just don't know, I didn't buy that at first. And then, so what happens is they need to run back to the castle. Well, they get rescued and taken back to the castle, which is where they find out that Velma's, like, gone insane, she's been hypnotized, and she is obsessed with bringing the monster back to life.
And I think she does, doesn't she? Yeah. And she always has that kind of iconic moment where it's alive, which I really like. And I don't know, I do like Velma's, like, evil look in this. It looks very convincing, because I don't think it goes too outlandish. Like, it's definitely out there, but I think it suits her quite well. She definitely seems evil, and I would say almost scarier than a lot of the villains we've had recently.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly... Yeah. I feel like they did this look well.
Definitely, and just knowing that they are hypnotized. I don't know, it's like, if I saw this as a kid, watching Velma mean the rest of the gang harm, I would almost say I would have been upset. Maybe more upset at this than I was at some of the scenes in Zombie Island when I was little.
For some reason, I don't know why, but when I'm seeing this, I'm imagining, like, a Linda Cardellini, like, live action representation where, like, they're hypnotized, and then once that enchantment kind of breaks, then a bit like, wait a minute, what am I wearing? Because it's very, like, I want to say almost a Daphne style dressing that is very tight, you know, and stuff. So yeah. I almost am imagining kind of like
Who's Your Mum?
A funny, like, comedy version of them not being hypnotized anymore and seeing the outfit and then a bit like, what is this? And for some reason, I'm just getting Linda Cardellini doing that in my head.
You know what would rock?
I feel like it'd work well.
You know, because Zombie Island is set in the future when they're meant to be a little bit older.
Yeah.
For like an anniversary or something, could you imagine if they recreated Zombie Island but with the 2002 Monsters Unleashed cast? That would be amazing.
That'd be fun.
It would be very fun.
Like, there's very little that I wouldn't do for that film, you know.
I also want to say that it's around this time when they start to play on those words of lose what they hold dearest.
Yeah, and I predicted this. So for Fred, I put Mystery Machine. For Daphne, I put Lux. For Velma, I put Logic. And for Shaggy and Scooby, Food.
But I kind of agree what Daphne says a bit later on, that they kind of got that wrong. I mean, I think that Fred's maybe is the Mystery Machine. I do believe that. But I think Daphne's, like JayBee said earlier, would have been Fred. Scooby and Shaggy would be each other.
Yeah.
I honestly believe that. And maybe Velma's is a Logic. But I feel like on a couple of levels they got it wrong. And I feel like this is where Daphne's talk show at the beginning becomes relevant. Because they were building up that in this one she is about her looks. There is the modelling portfolio. There is the people kind of really interested in her because of how she looks, and it's all about looks, and that's maybe what we're building up there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess a degree of it has to be personality, because they're like, it's a Daphne talk show, but yeah, there are a lot of people that are just, they're like, oh, where are the modelling pics? And I mean, that's something that isn't solved in this movie. Where are the modelling pics? Like, we genuinely don't know. I guess we'll never know.
You don't need to know.
I would argue that Daphne doesn't look any worse in the fat suit. I think she still looks. I think she still looks very, very nice.
Well, it's really good to hear you say that, JayBee. Like, I feel like we needed to hear that when this movie first came out, so it didn't get quite as much. You know, it got quite a lot of backlash from it.
No, well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe if it got backlash, it's more on the people if they found her less attractive with the fat suit on. I mean, I don't know. I think everyone needs to check themselves before being critical, but I think she still looks like an elegant ray of sunshine. But that's just me.
But it's good to know that your love for Daphne runs that deep. But then we finally get some music. We get a chase song.
Yes.
And the music in Scooby Doo always makes me very happy, so I was just happy to have a chase song. And as well, JayBee pointed out at the time that it was quite interesting to see it reversed in that that Scooby and Shaggy were like chasing after the monster.
True.
I think we've never got that before though, but it's just amazing. It's how it had like cotton candy glove.
I really love it when they are the confident characters.
The confidant.
Because I really like them. And like, for example, the one where like the movie where Shaggy's like hypnotized and there's that one trigger word, and then all of a sudden he's like taking on that entire like biker gang and stuff. Whenever they get confident, I really enjoy the movie.
Yeah, it's not often that they do. I think they use the trope a lot because it works. Well, not a lot, but they use it more than once or twice. But whenever they do it, I think it works. Even recently in the Courage movie, you know, like, although like in terms of Shaggy's case, it's kind of to no avail. Like, it's a bit futile, but their moments of bravery are quite endearing. I do like it, yeah. Again, though, I feel like this reverse chasing did go on a bit too long, unfortunately. I did like the song enough. I don't think it's one of my favourites. In fact, I couldn't sing it to you right now, but I remember liking it at the time. But maybe it goes on a bit too long.
Polka.
Oh, Transylvania. Oh, I should have remembered it, because it's literally... I'm a bad man.
And then I feel like everything starts to like click back into place a little bit after this like normality begins. So Fred starts to rescue Daphne. When Velma tries to take Shaggy and Scooby's brain and they've removed that suit, then all of a sudden they get their personality back where they're scared again and hungry again. The fat suit deflates. Everything just starts to kind of return normally.
Maybe we shouldn't call it a fat suit.
Well, I mean, okay, I'm using the direct words from the movie.
Know. I'm just thinking about it then, because even just calling it that in and of itself is a plus suit. Oh, that sounds crap, doesn't it? it's an inflatable suit.
The dress deflates.
Yeah, the dress deflates. What is it? They use words for it. It's just filled with like air, isn't it? Like the lunar ghost.
Yep.
Yeah, well, I guess the lunar ghost deflates. And oh my gosh, this part gave me the willies. But in between that happening, Velma all of a sudden, I don't know, it seems like when the gang start to find themselves again, Velma just gets progressively worse. Because we cut to Shaggy and Scooby tied up next to the monster, and Velma's trying to like get Igor to summon the brain extractor. Which, I could not imagine.
I feel like Igor's a character that we didn't touch on enough. Because they're really creepy at the start, but by the end of it, I like Igor.
Yeah, Igor's like, oh no, like, mistress, like, it's not ethical to take brains. Which is like, yeah, big up Igor. Standing up for what they believe in. But what is Igor? Like, what is he? Just a thing, or is he a person?
I want to say he's like a house elf. Like, he's just around it's there to help the Von Dinkleys.
Yeah, like, you can inherit them. So are they... I don't know if they're people or monsters. I don't know what they are, but I like him. I kind of want to say I want one, but I think in another context it seems a bit too much like slavery, so I'd pay an Igor to be around.
So, I'm trying to remember how Velma is unhypnotized.
I think literally the monster breaks free and like just like rushes past the lever, and the lever goes and the swirly thing gets switched off.
Yeah. And then they all kind of join back together and want to get out of the mansion before it blows up. Because they find out there's all this natural gas under there that was actually really valuable, and they should have just kept it in the end. Which meant the curse was no more.
I mean, there's stuff with Daphne and Fred beforehand that is kind of nice. Like, Fred says that Daphne's always been good. But then
they didn't notice.
They do play it for laughs a bit, where like he can't get his hands around her. But then like...
Yeah, see, I feel like that just made it really...
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna say that, like, I don't want to be, like, boring and, like, grumpy, but, like, I'm gonna say, as someone who was bullied at school a lot for weight, that stuff like that, it's like, I feel like if that had happened a few years later, this movie had happened a few years later, then it'd have been even worse received.
Well, yeah,
there has been like a huge, I think, mental health movement a bit, especially throughout like lockdowns and stuff, where people are like, okay, anything that can be like remotely linked to bad mental health needs to be like shut down. I genuinely feel like, again, I'm being boring here, but like as someone who like got bullied for being overweight, seeing that, I was like, okay, I feel like I was bullied when I was in school. I'd have been in school watching that. I'd have been a bit triggered. But
the moment before was good. Like, Fred genuinely said some nice stuff, and I think if they just left that moment how it was, it would have not been necessarily redeeming, but I think it would have, maybe that would have let the audience know, maybe a bit too late, that it wasn't like a serious thing. But then to like just add that in as like the final note of it, it kind of left it on a bad note, I want to say. But I'm just thinking, I don't know how cancelled this movie would be in this day and age, because imagine, like, if you think about how Thor is treated in Endgame, he puts on weight and everyone like Rocket's like, oh, you look like melted ice cream. Like, his weight's constantly made fun of. I think
it's a societal thing. Yeah, it's a society thing where like men can insult each other and it's like banter. Like, it's fine, it's funny. Whereas when a woman gets insulted, it's more like, okay, we've got some mental health things to address here.
Like, I don't want to get cancelled and I don't want to make sweeping statements, but I predict it is a lot easier to be a fat man than a fat woman. Because I think maybe that's like a UK thing, but I think that no one really bats an eye when they see a larger guy out and about, because you think, okay, it's a beer belly, they're social, they go out a lot. You know what I mean? Like, it's not. I don't think it's a great vibe. I don't think lots of women are going, oh, I mean, people say that they're trying to bring the dad bod back, but I don't think women are like, oh, you know, forget that David Beckham, I want to get some, like, big guy, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's trendy, but I definitely think society views a bigger guy, maybe just an England thing, as, okay, he just kind of goes to the pub, his standard stuff, beer belly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like his English breakfast.
Like, I was watching this weird, like, dating show thing came on, like, last weekend, and the guy had to talk about what their ideal girl was, and the first specification they gave is that they didn't want a girl that was too big.
Well,
and it's like, kind of feel like a girl couldn't or wouldn't say that.
I think girls' equivalent of that is height, because I think women can say the most horrible things about short guys and they just get away with it, whereas guys, if you say something about the weight of a woman, you instantly get attacked for that. And I think a lot of weight issues can't be helped, like there's conditions that affect weight and stuff, but like I'd say it's easier to control your weight than your height, and yet there's still kind of that divide there. Like, I don't know. There's different double standards, there's different ways of looking at things. Overall, I think it's easier to be a bigger guy than a bigger woman, but I don't know. It would be interesting to see how the audience would perceive things if Fred was the one that cared about his looks and he became really, really short somehow throughout the film. And he was, like, bullied for being short. I don't know. But definitely, that last little jokey thing left it on a sour note.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting because I do feel like they could still get away with that stuff with a male character. But yeah, I don't know. I don't want to make it like a massive debate, but I guess if people want to comment stuff, they can comment stuff. I don't know. Maybe that's the reason why it was controversial, because I was told that the movie was controversial. Smash. Do you know if this is the only reason why, or is there any other things?
Just from what I've heard, it's literally just been that.
Oh God. So maybe we'll all wind up in hot water for our take. But I think we've all got relatively good takes with this. Like, I don't think anyone's out here. I mean, what are your takes? Let's get you in trouble.
I know, huh?
JayBee, you've said too much already.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. I mean, I do kind of think that if it's... Well, okay. You know what? Here's my take. I feel like if it was Fred, that people wouldn't have said as much, you know, there wouldn't have been as much heat around it. But then if you put it on a completely different character and say put it on Shaggy, then it would have just been funny and a whole joke because ha ha ha, he eats so much, so of course he's gonna be big and stuff, you know. But then if you would have put it on Velma, then I feel like that's such a stereotype, bigger nerd type character, and everybody would have been like, oh, well, that's fine because she's a nerd and blah blah blah, you know. And so it's like it bugs me because it's literally only because it's Daphne, and if it was any other character, everyone would have looked at it a different way. But just because it's the pretty girl who suddenly got bigger, everyone's like, you can't be telling kids that. Like, they have to think they're pretty and believe that they're gorgeous and stuff, and, you know, saying that they're bigger, you know, there's my 2 cents.
Yeah.
No, I think what you said there makes sense, especially, like, if we think about it, this isn't the biggest we've seen one of the characters. I'm thinking Witches Ghost, Scooby Doo and Shaggy have just finished eating at the diner and they're running down the street. I think that's the biggest we see any character. And it's just accepted because they've just eaten so much.
Then again, though, they don't outwardly display disgust at how big they've
Yeah, I guess it was more Fred's expression, I think, when he does that hug thing and can't reach. That was a bit like... But I also completely understand.
And she isn't big though. That's the thing. Like, I feel like she's like, okay, obviously it's a puffy dress. I'm not being a pervert, but remove the dress and just put her as that size in her normal outfit. I would say she'd pretty much be the proportions she is in a series like Scooby Doo and Guess Who. So a bit more stocky, a bit more built, but also pretty peng at the same time as well.
Like, if they're still insisting that this is a size 8, you can get your arms around a size 8 without a single issue.
Yeah, see, that's the thing as well.
Like, okay, so what I'm thinking of, JayBee, here is a comparison for you. Our boss would be the equivalent of about a size 8.
Really?
She's a size 12 in the UK. A size 8 in the US converts to a size 10 or 12 in the UK. So that's the size we're talking about. You wouldn't have a single issue with that. Like, our boss is
she's got like an itty bitty waist on that. Yeah, ooh. Yeah, bad
so
take.
you wouldn't have a single issue, like, reaching your arms around her, right?
That's the thing. If Daphne alone was upset that she'd become bigger than she normally was, I think what I said at the start would remain true, because we all doubt ourselves. I think every one of us has at some stage felt a bit like this could be improved about myself or something. But I just think the fact that, I don't want to say it's canonized, but the fact that Fred canonically, you know, it's portrayed that you can't get your arms around a size 8 is dodgy.
Yeah, especially when, like I said, we've just looked at what a size 8 is.
And how short would Fred's hand have to be if he can't get his arms around? Like teeny tiny T-Rex Fred. Maybe.
Maybe Fred's the real issue.
Yeah. Screw you, Fred.
Fine.
Fred's a normie.
So, where are we up to? I feel like we're pretty much at the unmasking, right?
Yeah, so let's see who can be unmasked. Is it Federal Schmidler?
Schmidler.
Well, so maybe Smash can take us through the unmasking as our Scooby Doo expert.
Yeah, because we have 3 unmaskings, if I remember correctly. Which, this one's kind of weird because it's like, you know, the gang kind of chase the culprits as culprits rather than like as monsters. But then once they, you know, like trick them and get them tied up or whatever, then they're like pulling off masks of people, and it's like people were in masks of other people. It was kind of interesting, kind of weird. But you guys watched this one more recently. Was it 3 unmaskings? Am I remembering that correctly?
I think there were maybe more. So you had, I forget the name of the lady, but I know that they're an associate of Mamba Wamba. I think the Burgermeister is revealed to be CL Magnus, I want to say, who would be Redbeard.
He was Redbeard, yep.
And, oh lord, somebody, and I forget who, no, the lawyer is an associate of Cosgood Creeps. And, then technically Burgermeister is also the monster, so I guess 4, 3.
Mm-hmm.
Or 3 and a double unmasking.
Yeah. And it's like, doesn't it actually get quite dark that they're like, okay, so we went with the vibe that it was that we wanted you to stay away from Bin here, but that was because we wanted to get you here because we'd literally set up this death trap of a house. And it was meant to blow up with you inside it.
Yeah, Iron Face was there, hence the mask. So that was right. It was dark for me on another level, though, where they say, like, a lot of applicants came forward, but we only went for the best. Meaning that, like,
they could do this again. There's more people that have a target on
there's so many
head.
people that don't like Mystery Inc. It's almost like you'd imagine there being a faux ghost. Yeah, with the dartboards. And there's even a joke in that the deleted scenes of that. I don't know if it was in the movie or not, but it was quite funny where they were seeing, like, the dartboards there and, like, the whack-a-mole machine. And Shaggy's like, oh, I'd hate to see the toilet, sir. That Like, that would happen. Those are the toilets in the faux ghost, and no one can tell me differently. But it's just scary to imagine these genuine ex-criminal people that don't like the guy. They could almost form like a Sinister Six. And I wonder who that would be.
So it looks like there were 4. There was Cuthbert Crawls, Lila the Gypsy. Then we had CL Magnus, who was Redbeard, and then Mama Mione, who was Iron Face.
Yeah, and I think that they chose quite decently. I mean, is there a pattern at all to why these were chosen? Do you know, Smash? Like, were they in the same? Well, I guess they. I don't know. Were they in the same series?
So, Redbeard, CL Magnus, and Cuthbert Crawls, who was the Phantom Shadow, they were both in Scooby Doo Where Are You? And then Mama Mione, who was Iron Face, and Lila, who was Mamba Wamba, were both in the Scooby Doo show. For whatever reasons, they like to think that Iron Face is more iconic than it really is. Like, I guess at least for me, I just don't see Iron Face as that iconic, but then Scooby Doo treats it as if it is, and so then you kind of wonder, you're like, oh, is it more iconic and I'm just not that attached to it or whatever? Because, like, you know, Iron Face was in Cyber Chase, and I mean, I liked how they utilized it, you know, kind of like reuse the mask type of thing, but I definitely love that they used the Phantom Shadows. Those are iconic. And then the Ghost of Redbeard is an interesting one because although I wouldn't say he's the most iconic, he's actually been reused quite a bit. He was reused in the new Scooby Doo movies, but he was like a all-white version of himself, you know, so he was like a ghost type of thing. And but the Mamba Wamba, Lila, that one is one of those that's like, if you watched this movie and you hadn't seen, you know, a good chunk of Scooby-Doo, there is no way you're gonna know who Mamba Wamba is. Like, I'm sorry, Mamba Wamba is the most randomest one to use, and unless you've seen it, you probably have never heard of it. And the other 3, yes, for the most part, I'd maybe question Iron Face a little bit, but Mamba Wamba is the weirdest one to me. I mean, I think it's cool that they pulled him out of the archive, but there was just like no big significance with that one.
You are right.
I mean, I'd say that Iron Face's significance comes from Cyber Chase. It's not that
exactly
they were important and that's why they ended up in Cyber Chase. For me, it's like, oh yeah, they were in Cyber Chase. Can't really remember where they originated
I feel
from.
like such a fake
but they're
fan.
in Cyber Chase.
I do know where they originated from because of the intro. I think that the sharks are in the intro maybe of like the Scooby Doo show. But literally, I feel like such a fake fan saying this. But the second Iron Face was mentioned, I think I turned to you and went, "Oh my gosh, from Cyber Chase!" And then I thought, "Oh no." But all of them, I think you can quantify it that way because everyone's seen the first 4 animated movies. Everyone's kind of seen the live action movies. So instantly, when I hear the word CL Magnus, I was like, "Oh, I remember them talking about CL Magnus at the Faux Ghost." So okay, tick, I know who that is.
And with that, CL Magnus, so at the beginning of Scooby-Doo 2, when the pterodactyl starts to attack, the pterodactyl knocks over Redbeard's costume, and that's where Daphne gets the sword from. But actually, a fun little fact that we'll probably bring back up once we talk about that movie. Redbeard's ghost was originally going to be in Scooby-Doo 2, but he got cut. And so the fact, like, the whole reason Daphne went and got the sword, I mean, yes, it did help the plot in that moment, but it was also to allude that Redbeard was going to show up later, but then he never did.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many monsters that would have been amazing. Like, even if they remade that now, like, the amount of special effects they could put into some of them.
Yeah.
Like, there were so many, even looking at those cards, they reveal, like, there's that pumpkin villain, like a headless horseman pumpkin thing. There's a
that
lot.
one looks so cool.
I wish that they would bring all them to life. But yeah, Mamba Wamba is the standout, because even I'd say the Phantom Shadow and Cosgood Creeps, maybe something like Scooby Natural would help bring them into prominence. I think this was a bit before Scooby Natural, but I guess they must have chosen an iconic episode. And I think the Phantom Shadow is maybe one of the more iconic villains. I know that maybe people don't know the name of the Phantom Shadow, but they definitely have seen an image of the Scooby Gang being chased by the Phantom Shadow, be it fan art or anything like that. I feel like that's the go-to one.
I'd agree.
Yes.
And then I feel like this movie wraps up quite nicely with Velma gifts the townspeople the property, right?
Yeah.
Like, do you know
Yeah,
what?
the
They've been
oil
through
rights.
enough. The natural gas and stuff underneath it, it's theirs to sell and do what they want with.
And Fred gets a new mystery machine.
Yay! So, with the jet button as well. So I feel like it's a happy ending for everyone.
There's also kind of like a mid-credit scene.
Yeah, there's something about the credits that I don't like. Don't they go back and literally just be like, ha, did you notice this? Shaggy didn't have his clothes on and then here he does. Did you notice that we did this and then this happened after? Did you remember that, JayBee? Did you make notes on that?
Yeah.
It was really weird. It was like, okay, so basically there's some editing blunders and you want to make them look deliberate? I'm confused.
I interpreted it as that, but at the same point, if they're going to mention it like that and also bring it back to like one of Daphne's fans, I'd kind of say, right, fine, job well done. Like, I'm sure people didn't really notice that too much, because then like there's that scene where Daphne sits down without the tires and then she's got them on. I feel like that's the only one I noticed. Yeah, but if they're going to make it seem deliberate just this once, fair enough.
Yeah.
But I think then they asked for the modelling pics again, which was funny. And then like the Men in Black just swoop in and arrest them.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, anything that anybody wants to add before we go to kind of the decisions?
No, I suppose just I don't know. I'm ready to verdict, to be honest.
Smash, you ready?
I just have one fun little tidbit about this movie, quick.
Oh wow, okay, I'm excited now.
So the song for the chase, Transylvania Polka, they kind of got lazy actually, and they later use it in the series Be Cool Scooby Doo. So it is a reused song actually.
Ooh.
I like Be Cool Scooby Doo, you know. I like it a lot. I hope we do get to cover all the series one day, but that might be many, many years away.
Yeah, we're just looking at the movies we have left, like, oh. Okay, so, yeah. JayBee, I guess we're going to start with you, as always. So, Scooby Doo Frankencreepy, smash or pass?
You know, I thought I knew the answer going into this, and I do feel like the kind of serious debate we had in the show, I don't know, it soured me a bit to the overall intention of the movie and its spirit. But I just think overall, if I'm not taking it as a statement to be taken to the world, then I'm just like, did I enjoy watching the movie? Yeah. Did I have fun watching it? Absolutely. Was I compelled by the plot? Yeah, it was fine. Obviously, I've come up with loads of other ways that I would have done it, and I think maybe my version's a little bit, not better, but I think it works better given what was set up at the start, perhaps. But I would say this is a smash, because for all this the controversy, and I don't think it's something that we should particularly take out into the world. For example, I don't think I'd show, if I had like a daughter, I don't think I'd rush to show them this purely for that reason. But in myself, no part of this has been boring. No part of it's been too annoying, except for like the overuse of jump cuts. So I'd say just to like mark it down as unwatchable because of that thing that genuinely does more annoy me after discussing it than it did when I first saw it. Yeah, but it's by far from the movie I'd put on if I was to choose. You know, it wouldn't be my favorite. So I'm gonna smash this one, but I don't know. It's an interesting one. What about Millie? Would you smash or pass Scooby Doo Frankencreepy?
Yeah, I feel like I agree with a lot of what you were saying. I think the plot of the movie is fun, it's good, it takes a different angle. I always enjoy when Velma's the one that's kind of like has to readdress her scientific fixed belief on the world, and she kind of gets put in check a bit with that. So it's an angle that I do enjoy. I think they did it well. I think, like you were saying, JayBee, you've suggested some ideas that I think I may have preferred to see adapted. And I also do understand why this movie can be seen as controversial. And I kind of agree with some of what you're saying. Like, I feel like perhaps if I had a child, I'd want to push them to see other Scooby movies before this one. Like, it certainly has a different feel to it that the others don't, in the scenes that happen where there's kind of like reduced body positivity and stuff. And I don't know, I don't want to like seem like it's something that I'm fixed upon, but I do feel like it's just not handled well.
It takes Daphne back, like in the cyber chase that we've already mentioned,
where she was looking in the carnival mirrors.
Classic Daphne that did that, and it was used to show a distinction between classic Daphne and modern Daphne. That was the point of that scene.
Yeah.
Whereas this is like this is now classic Daphne.
Really, just it was jarring. It just wasn't handled at all well, and I don't know, I just feel like we're in a time when people would know how to handle that better. It really was strange. Anyway, I feel like it can't take away from the entire movie. For me, it is still a smash. I would watch this again. It's a movie that I know that I personally enjoy and would enjoy watching multiple times, but I don't know that if like we had a younger generation, like say my niece, or if we had a daughter or something, that I'd be like, yeah, this is a Scooby movie to go to. Have fun. So yeah, I feel like I very much agree with everything JayBee said. Ultimately, it's still a smash, but I do think there was things that really should have been handled a lot better. So, Smash, we're coming to you now. Would you say smash or pass for Scooby Doo Frankencreepy?
Okay, so like I said, originally when I watched this movie, I don't know what happened. It just like went over my head and did not at all, I don't know how, realize that was like this whole revenge plot with classic villains. And so, you know, upon rewatching it later, I was just like, wait, what? When did this happen? Did this movie change since I watched it? Like, I was just shocked rewatching it. I was like, what? Now, for me, I love the idea of it. I always love revenge plots because I feel like that really adds lore to, I mean, sure, Scooby-Doo, but almost anything, you know? It's like, okay, so these people that you once had captured or whatever are now coming back, and, you know, they have all this backstory already, you know, and now they have an even more motive to come and get you or whatever. Does it work every time? No. And do you always need it? No. But it's just fun to have those mixed in as kind of like a plot twist in the universe, you know? And so the idea of Frankencreepy being this revenge plot, and like, I mean, if you think about it, this movie's kind of brutal. Like, they literally were out for blood. They were like, hey, murder them and we out. Like, they didn't care about the oil or any money that they could have made. They were just literally like, kill the gang and we move on with our lives. Cool. Great. You know, but I guess wish that, well, this is one of those movies that I just feel like would have been better suited, I guess, in the Zombie Island era, you could say. That way, you know, I just feel like it could have had a darker atmosphere, darker tone. And then, like I said earlier, I kept feeling like they were trying to tiptoe it, but then they do those weird cuts that would just like ruin the mood, ruin the vibe. And yeah, sure, like you guys said, maybe it was, you know, to kind of release the tension a bit and keep it more lighthearted, but I was like, this isn't the movie for that, you know? Again, you could have done that in the WrestleMania one or something. And so overall, I think this is a really fun movie. It's definitely not one that I'd instantly recommend. And this is also kind of a hard one too, though, because they it's one of those where they had to balance being like, oh, if you know your lore, you'll appreciate this movie. But also, if you don't know your Scooby lore, then we have to kind of try to catch you up in like 20 minutes so that, this whole thing, makes sense to you as a new Scooby viewer, so to speak. And so those can also get kind of awkward. I mean, as we saw with Return to Zombie Island and Curse of the 13th Ghost. I mean, even Happy Halloween, because they were doing a weird trilogy, and they were like, oh, well, if you haven't seen the last two movies, then we gotta hurry and catch you up in 5 minutes so you know what's going on in this movie type of thing. And so it's just weird for Scooby Doo of like how to even balance that out, especially because there's 52 years worth of content of Scooby Doo. And so it's like if you try to do something from the past, then you have to hurry and like explain that super fast, especially because these movies are only like an hour and 20 minutes at most. They don't even get like a full hour and a half. So they don't really have the runtime to kind of really explain and be like, oh, this and that. I mean, again, I already mentioned, but like Return to Zombie Island, they had to have this quick like 3-minute flashback from Daphne to be like, hey, if you never saw that movie, here's what we're talking about. Okay, you're caught up, moving on type of thing. And so, it's hard. I do wonder if these movies ever went into, on the big screen and cinemas and whatever, if they would take more time and like actually put that effort into adding a lot more lore into it, because then, I mean, which I'm sure they would, because obviously it costs more money to make those types of movies and they'd have a bigger budget and whatever. But I think at that point too, though, it's, people will be paying attention more, because like for these movies, it's, if you're not following up with Scooby Doo, then you're just going to randomly see it out on the shelf at the store, pick it up. And the thing is, Warner Brothers doesn't know who is going to pick up what movie at what time. And so, again, take that weird trilogy of Curse of the 13th Ghost, Return to Zombie Island, and Happy Halloween. Someone could randomly pick up Return to Zombie Island. I mean, whether they know Zombie Island or not, whether they're getting it for, oh my gosh, a sequel to Zombie Island or not. First of all, they have to hurry and get that lore if they missed it from Zombie Island in that short little flashback. But then, if down the road they decide to pick up Curse of the 13th Ghost, then they're like, oh, what? Like now I'm backtracking, so this is why Fred lost the mystery machine. And this is that sheriff that was, helping them and talking to them in Return to Zombie Island, and then they go and watch Happy Halloween. Then you're all twisted up and you're like, okay, how did we get from point A to point B? Now I got to watch these movies in order. And who's to say that anyone really will, unless they're fans like you and me and, other Scooby fans out there and stuff, And so while I think it's really cool and I really do like them, like trying to bring past shows, past concepts and stories into the more modern Scooby-Doo, and again, add more lore and backstory and stuff. It is just such a hard balance for Scooby-Doo with having 52 years worth of content and not knowing who in society has seen what and when they're going to pick up what, and if they're even going to go back and see, the past, or if they're just here for new Scooby-Doo or, yeah. So that was a really long tangent that made no sense, but what I was getting at is I will smash this one, but it's going to be a light one, honestly.
Yeah, light smashes all around, I think. Light smashes all around. So, I guess with that being said, the next movie we'll be watching is Moon Monster Madness.
It will indeed.
And also, I think we've got not quite a bit, but we've got a little bit of community news, I would like to say. So, Millie, I've kind of got my stuff in mind, but do you have anything you wanna say?
No, I feel like anything I say is just going to be stealing what you wanted to say, so I know I'm going to do that to you anyway, aren't I?
Say
So
what?
I know
We're waiting for a couple each.
On JB's list is that Scooby Doo was mentioned in the new Spider-Man trailer, and it got him quite happy.
Oh yeah. They were canonized
What
in
was
the
it?
MCU.
Doctor Strange said like something like,
"Let's Scooby Doo this crap."
yeah, like, can't you like Scooby Doo this crap? And then they made him
Yeah.
say, please Scooby Doo this crap or something.
Please Scooby Doo this crap. That's what he was saying. And I like that, because I'm just imagining Doctor Strange in the Sanctum Sanctorum just like watching What's New Scooby Doo or something. Oh my lord. I'm so envious. Because if Scooby Doo, the show and the movies, are canon in the MCU, and Doctor Strange can look into alternate timelines, he has not only seen
Oh, for God's
the
sake.
James Gunn
I knew you were
2002
gonna say this.
movie, but he's also seen Scooby Doo 3, the sequel to Monsters Unleashed.
Yeah, true.
Ah, Doctor Strange. Ah, I want to be the Sorcerer Supreme. That's what I want to be. That's gonna be my future job now.
And again, to steal JB's next topic, I know he sent you, I believe, some competition that's part of the Scooby community.
Oh no, that was unrelated. That was a fan thing. So yeah, you've kind of failed there, Millie, but
I'm
it's
sorry,
okay.
I'm trying to steal all your topics. Screwing your day a little bit.
My next topic was going to be that the Hex Girls Funko Pops have restocked. I don't know if they're still in stock, but as of recording, they're in stock. I think we did tag Smash in that one as well. I don't know if you managed to get hold of them.
No, I need to go order them. I thank you for reminding me. I like looked at it and was like, oh, yay! And then got distracted, and so I'm like, I need to hurry and order them. They are still in stock. I just pulled up the page.
Hey, so hopefully that is still the case by the time we release this podcast. We did like retweet it and stuff, so if you follow, if something like this happens again, we will be retweeting stuff. So if you're listening, there's link in the description, there's Twitter and stuff. But yeah, and I hope that means that Double Box Toys will start to like ship stuff out in the UK. I know that people that pre-ordered from Pop Culture, that importer from Australia, have had their Hex Girls Funko Pops for like 2-3 weeks now. And we pre-ordered these Funko Pops in May, and they're still, like, it just keeps saying paid for, like, no dispatch or anything, so hopefully these restocks do mean that they're gonna start rolling out, but I don't know. I don't have very high hopes. I guess, I don't know if we mentioned this, because it's been a while since we did an episode that warranted, like, Scooby News, so I suppose Scooby Doo Live Tour, I think they just tweeted out the other day saying that they've added in a couple of new venues. So I guess if you go to the last episode, we did the special with Andre and LeBlanc, and you go into that little link, there might be one in your state or your town or your city, so keep an eye on that. And I think the last thing that I've got to say is, and again, this happened a while ago, but I don't think we've done an episode since, but if it has, you still got plenty of time to do this. But Frank Welker is doing a private send-in signing thing with GalaxyCon, so you can like send in Funko Pop boxes, posters. I think you can even buy some stuff from like that website directly. So I think you've got until the 29th of November to pay for it, and the item has to arrive in like the given address by the 3rd of December. So you've got a little bit of time to do that. So yeah, if anyone wants a Frank Welker autograph, do that. I think they're a bit pricey. They're $100 plus $10 if you want like an authentic thing.
I've got our thing in front of us. It was $125.
Wait, with the...
I think that includes the £10 for the like certificate of authentication, and then it was an extra $34 for shipping to get it back to you.
But bear in mind that's because we're in the UK. I think the shipping will probably be a bit lower in the US.
Yeah.
But yeah, Frank Welker, so voice of Scooby, voice of Fred, so bit of a treat for some Scooby fans there if that's what you do want. And I think that's my last bit of community news, unless you know of anything, Smash.
Yeah, actually something just got announced today.
Ooh. Oh yeah. I think maybe you're thinking about the one, so I'll let you say it because it's exciting.
Yeah, so Warner Brothers Games just announced a new like Super Smash Bros. Style game for their properties, you know, like Batman, and think Adventure Time and Bugs Bunny and Tom and Jerry and stuff, but it was revealed today too that Shaggy will be a part of it, and so that meme a few years back is finally coming to fruition, and super excited for that game. It's called Multiverses, and it'll be free to play. Comes out next year in 2022, so keep up with that. So let's see if maybe Scooby Doo comes into it eventually or something, but I'm excited for that.
Yeah, me too. I was a bit sad though because it's not available on the Nintendo Switch, and that's the kind of only thing that we use. So a bit bad, but I think we'll probably find a way to try it out because it's just so fun. And it literally announced it as Matthew Lillard's Shaggy as well.
Yes,
so I reckon we'll get like cutscenes and stuff maybe from that game. That just looks so fun.
Okay,
so that may be it. Let me just. I don't think there's anything else that's going on. I think we're good. I suppose in terms of personal news, at the end of this episode, we should be drawing the winner for the Space Kook soda giveaway. I probably should have mentioned that at the start of this episode, but watch time, isn't it?
Yeah, thank you for sticking around to this point. We will be drawing the winner of the Space Kook.
Yeah, I guess. Woo! Welcome back. We are about to draw the giveaway for the free common Spooky Space Kook Funko sodas, but there's a bit of community news that I neglected to mention in the main body of the show, and that's simply that, similar to Frank Welker, DeLisle Griffin, who portrays Daphne, like the voice actress, is also doing a kind of sign-in, send-in service, and that's going to be advertised on her Twitter account. I just think that's at DeLisle, but maybe I'll include that in the description. So yeah, that's something that's really exciting that people might really enjoy. So I guess now we draw names, right?
Yay!
So elaborating a bit more on terms and conditions, although they were completely like mapped out in that description. So we did offer the opportunity of bonus entries. So for example, we know that say Milly, if Milly entered once in the comment section and then once as a bonus entry, if we draw her name first time, she'll be eligible for the Spooky Space Kook. However, if the next name we pull out, it happens to be Milly's bonus entry, that will only be good for the one Spooky Space Kook, just to keep it as fair as possible. So unfortunately, there is no way as of yet to, I guess, win two of them, but yeah, so if your name is drawn twice, we will roll it over to the next name. So yeah, just to clear that up, that's how we're going to do things there. And I'm also going to be doubly recording here, so as much as the audio is here, I'm also going to be recording the drawing of them on my phone, just in case anything comes up, you know what I mean, like, questions of fairness and everything, because we like to do it all above board here. So I guess I'm going to whip out my trusty phone, and do you want to do it, or do you want to record me do it?
I'll pick the names, you hold the phone. Okay.
Hold the phone?
So this is the first name.
Oh gosh. And again, like, don't bother too much with the camera, because, like, this probably isn't going to be released, but...
So, the first Spooky Space Kook is Monster Zack Zack, and their favourite song was Looking for Clues. Okay, so, again, along with that information, please do let us know the best way to reach out to you, because we're going to need an address that we're going to keep private and all of that. So congratulations, Monster Zack Zack. We'll be sure to ship out your Spooky Space Kook Funko soda as soon as possible. So now we're on to the second envelope, which is this one. Okay, so we have here Harold Fuller, and this was their bonus entry.
Hey, so huge congratulations to Harold Fuller. A Spooky Space Kook Funko soda is coming straight to you. We're really excited that some bonus entries are getting picked up. There was kind of something that I don't really want to mention too much, but someone did follow when we first announced the giveaway, and I've since unfollowed. And because we're quite busy, we have to collect it all in one go. It was to the point where I literally could not include that bonus entry. So, yeah, unlucky to that person, but it's like, just stay followed for the duration, right? Even if you want to unfollow afterwards, just general rule. Just do it. Just do it. Don't risk it. But, this is it.
The last envelope.
And I guess for now though, because we do have a lot, so if you do want to see another one of these, please do let us know. We might need to not save it necessarily, but we're going to need to find a milestone or a goal that we want to achieve for it, so.
And the last one is Andre and LeBlanc themselves, who entered saying their favourite song is We Share the Same Story.
So, I don't know if they intended to enter, so it could be that there's another one on offer, but like, that's amazing. It's really nice how they kind of commented and therefore they're eligible for the entry. That is absolutely amazing, but this is not the end. Please do make sure to comment down below some suggestions you have. You know, I've had some suggestions personally, like maybe once that Andre and LeBlanc interview hits 50 likes, we could do another giveaway or something like that.
I guess something that I'm thinking of is doing a few Christmas giveaways on the channel. So maybe like, say, one for the Scooby content, one for the Animal Crossing content. So I think it's fair to say that we've got some common werewolves still left over, common space Cook.
How many do we have left over for the Kooks then? Because we've got 2 chases, we're giving away 3 commons, we opened up 10 in total, so that's 5, right?
I'm just taking a look over there.
Well,
we opened 12, didn't we?
No, we opened 10, but 2 from pop culture should be on the way. In which case, and if we do open a chase from that pop culture mail call, I kind of do want to find a really special thing to give away the chase, but
okay, so we have 3 left over, I believe.
So who knows? Please do comment down below, because we do want to distribute these commons to as many people as we possibly can. So yeah, please do, in fact, let us know what your suggestions are. Also, again, because we have to wrap up in this section afterwards, all the links for smASH's Twitter and smASH's YouTube channel will be in the description, so please make sure to check them out because they are absolutely incredible.
Indeed. So with all that in mind, and for next week's episode, please make sure to like, comment and subscribe to JayBee Milly and of course smASH.
And if any of these entries are unable to claim their prize, we will draw some more names
in the next episode.
So yeah, see you there.